Hello everyone, this video is about comparing Python to C++. So first, let's look at advantages and disadvantages of Python. Python is an easy to learn programming language compared to C++. It's very easy to access libraries. There are open source scientific libraries that are available. The community is sharing and it's very easy to access some sophisticated data science, for example, libraries. Disadvantages of Python are that it's a relatively slow language compared to C++. It's an interpreted language. That means you need to have Python on your device in order for it to run the code. So basically, you have a dependency on installing Python. And finally, the language is not typed. That means when you program, you don't specify the type of the variable when you declare it. Python understands by itself at runtime what is the type of the variable. But this has a disadvantage, is that there are errors that you only discover at runtime. C++ now, on the other side. Advantages are, first of all, the execution speed. It's much faster than Python. Second of all, it's a precompiled language. So there's a .exe file that is created, and it runs on the machine. So that's what makes it fast. It doesn't have any dependencies on an interpreter, like Python does. Also, it's a typed language. That means you need to specify the type of a variable when you declare it. That makes it a well-defined language. The structure of the program is well-defined. Finally, another advantage that I see about C++ is that nowadays there are modern professional libraries like Qt that allow the programmer to make sophisticated things very simply in a couple of lines of code. For example, UIs, networking, SQL, programming, threads, and stuff like that. Disadvantages: the learning curve. So it's harder to learn. Harder to access libraries. Less sharing than in Python. For me, personally, Python is a language that you do the prototyping. So basically you analyze data and you try some algorithms, some models. And when you're done prototyping and you want to have some tool that is built, also basically visualizations, interaction with the user, and a process that does something, then C++ is a better language because it's typed and it's fast, and you need to do things right. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Each language has its specific purpose. The second part of the video is to show an example of the same code that we run on Python and on C++, and we'll compare the elapsed time for each. So let's get to that. Okay, let's start with Python. First, we import the time library. Then we declare a variable t_start that from time library, the time function that returns a float representing the current time in seconds. But the precision is going further than seconds. Next, we declare a loop, a for loop, for I in range from 1 till 10 million by 1. And we're going to make a funky operation with the I variable, the iterator, minus I. That's it. Now we just need to print the difference between the time when the process gets there minus the time of the start. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute that. 2.4 seconds. 2.5, approximately 2.5. 3. 2.6. 2.8. Okay, we see the type of results that we get. It's around 2.5 and higher. Let's write the same code in C++. So first we need to include qDateTime library and qDebug library for the output. Now let's declare the main function, and we declare qDateTime variable that is called tStart and equal to from Q date time. We need the current date time function that returns, and here we can see what it returns. We see that it returns a Q date time object. So that's why the type of tstart, it's Q date time. We need to declare it. That's what I was saying about typed language in the beginning of the video. Okay, so now that we have the start time variable, we also need to declare the end, the variable that is going to hold the end time. Now let's write the loop for int I equals 1, I smaller than or equal to I plus plus, and here we'll write the same operation that we did in Python. And now we need to put the process date time into the end variable. And finally, we need to debug the difference. So here we have t start that in milliseconds 2 divide by 1000. Okay, so let's build, and then we can run to execute the code. 0.024, 24 milliseconds, 21, 22, 22. So around 22, we can say. Python 2.5, 2.7, we said. So let's compare 2.5 with Python divided by 0.22 in C++, 110. We can conclude that in the specific case of that loop, C++ executed the code approximately 110 times faster than Python. It makes sense because it's around that level of speed difference that I have read about on the internet resources. Like the range was from 100 to 400 times